Yo guys, I'm going to be going through the 0.20 patch notes. I'm going to try cover most important points. I'm going to share my thoughts and I'm going to review them. In summary, the patch notes butchered everything, including my Fire Flower Cast and Minion Death build for my Chronomancer. It also killed most of the items used by that build, including some questionable changes for Flame Blast and a few other skills, but everything got nerfed and very few things got changed in terms of improving or making them better. So general thoughts are quite negative, but on the bright side, we have Lost Epoch on 17th of April, and you should definitely try that. This is not sponsored. Let's go. So these patch notes are quite huge, so it might take some time to go through it. I'll try to skip the things that are least relevant. 0.20 Dawn of the Hunt. So we have new economy, which is nice. I'll be playing on the new economy server, and I'd advise you guys to do the same because that's where you get the best experience. So what do we have in this patch? New class, Huntress, new Ascendancies for the Huntress, a new Ascendancy for the Warrior, a new Ascendancy for the Mercenary, and a new Ascendancy for the Witch. 25 new skills, 100 new supports, 2 new class items, spears and bucklers, new endgame maps, 4 unique strongboxes, which might make the strongboxes more interesting. We have the rogue exile mechanic, which is sort of fake PvP. It's a good idea, but might as well just add real PvP to the game just for fun. Introduction of Asmerian Wisps seems like an okay mechanic, nothing too exciting. 15 new socketable items, also nothing to go crazy about. New keys for endgame maps, so now you can corrupt essences. That's good. Should have been able to do that from the beginning. There needs to be a lot of improvement to art, sounds, effects, environments, performance, lag, issues, etc. So the most exciting thing here is the Ascendancies, new support gems, and new unique items. I hope that they added enough support gems that are available for different weapon types, different classes, different skills, so it's not just 5-6 new additions for one skill, but at least a few choices because we were severely limited with choices before. So these are the endgame changes. There's quite a few. A lot of this was needed because the endgame was very stale beforehand. I hope this improves it. I believe it's a bit too early to make a judgment of these changes since we can't play them. Once I've played a little bit, I might discuss the endgame changes and see if they actually made a difference. For now, some of these seem like the right direction. I'm not so sure about the others. Hopefully it works. There's a lot of changes. Let's see, let's try it, but let's not jump to conclusions before we actually play the endgame. Atlas passive tree changes. So they improved the tree, which is great. More options, more choices. Again, we didn't really have any choices in the previous Atlas tree. It felt a bit boring in some ways. So we have more points now as well, which is great. Some further changes to the tree. Nothing screams crazy to me. Nothing seems too exciting. Just some changes in percentages. We'll need to see how this feels in the actual gameplay. General improvements. I really hope there was a bit bigger section for general improvements, but here we are. So this is like a special crash fix. Stash treasure room in Trial of Chaos. Things actually burn the grass. I don't know if this is going to be good because now I feel like the performance is going to suffer even more, and fire skills were some of the worst skills for performance issues. Firebolt had a big issue with performance, but yeah, general improvements seem very limited, nothing too exciting. I'm quite disappointed with this. There seemed to be a lot of room for improvement. Let's keep going. Player changes. Player base element is now half of maximum life, so you're gonna get stunned, frozen, and fucked in the ass even more. Great. That sounds like fun gameplay to me. Well, let's see. Let's not jump to conclusions again. Presence has been reduced. We still have ways to scale presence, but this is still quite significant for aura bots and builds that relied on presence. This might be quite a significant nerf. They completely butchered the trample toe frost wall interaction, so it no longer works. It was broken, but to no longer apply it altogether means they couldn't fix the actual issue from a technical point of view. I think overkill damage should still have worked with ice crystals. It just shouldn't have scaled as crazy. I don't agree with this change. It just completely removes something instead of fixing it. Removing is not a fix, or it's an easy fix. Heavy stun duration is now 3 seconds instead of 1. So now you die even more from stuns, where 1 second was more than enough to die multiple times in the previous patch. Now you'll have 3 seconds, which is even worse. It does not seem like fun gameplay to be stunned for 3 seconds. Now Ascendancy changes. 5% increase seems insignificant. Warbringer, that seems like a good change. You can scale corpse explosion radius now. Cooldown lowered. None of these seem too exciting, just minor changes. Gemling Legionnaire, one of the most broken classes in the previous patch. Now it's 20 less attributes. Needed nerf, good decision. Also seems like a nerf. probably good because this was a broken build. But again, considering that none of the ascendancies were changed too much, I'm a bit disappointed waiting 4 months for this, for minor percentage changes. But that's just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree, disagree? Do you think they did enough? Or do you think this is just band-aiding to bigger problems in the game design? Again, 10% increase. I don't like it. I don't like minor percentage increase changes. These type of changes should be done during patch, not waiting 4 months for this. This is a 10% increase. This is literally changing one line in the code base. I don't know why it hasn't been done sooner, and why it takes so long for this to happen on a public alpha release where the game is supposed to be tested. So this seems like a buff, but again, none of these scream crazy. They just seem to be minor changes to percentages and things like that. Acolyte of Chayula. All they did is make 3 minor changes and actually fix the whole darkness avoiding damage in Trial of Sekema. So this is actually a good thing. They fixed the easy way of getting Temporalis. Great job. Should have done immediately as soon as they figured this is the case, but I don't know why it took them so long. Again, Invoker. Nothing fundamental changed with Invoker. Disappointing. Minor changes for Blood Mage. Infernalist. Demon form was changed. I don't know about these Infernalist changes. There's a bit more than some other Ascendancies. Was Infernalist broken? Maybe 1 or 2 builds, but removing things like this is just actually going backwards. I don't understand what they're trying to do. Finally, Chronomancer. The only class that I played during all of 0.1. It's all I've played, so I feel like I have a strong opinion about the class. I've been waiting for many changes for this class, and when I see 3 changes, I feel like it's a fucking joke. It took 4 months for them to make 3 changes for a class that was severely underrepresented, unable to have builds, and essentially just bad design, or at least bad design so far with what was available during 0.1. They removed an Ascendancy. They removed Circular Heartbeat, which adds 30% damage taken recouped as live. It was probably one of the more unique Ascendancy points for Chronomancer, and they just removed it. I don't know what they're doing with this class. Genuinely have no fucking clue. So they decreased the time for the same cast speed, but for more time. So you have it more often and for a bit longer. Huge 4-month change. Great job, GGG. That took 4 months to do. To just change 12 to a 10, keep the 50 as a 50, and change a 4 to a 5. And added a new Flood of Echoes Ascendancy passive skill that grants Unleash skill. So Unleash skill is going to be something similar to the support gem that we already had in 0.1. It basically allows you to cast multiples of the same skill. That's a huge change for Chronomancer, because Chronomancer had fuck all to do, but now they removed 1 skill, added another skill that already exists as a support gem. Don't play Chronomancer. It's fucking garbage. They need to rebuild this class from scratch. They don't know what they're doing. There's nothing interesting about it. It's just so stale. It's silly. It's actually silly. Stormweaver, they should have nerfed this to the ground. This was the most broken build. Everybody was playing Stormweaver. It was too strong. All the passives in the Ascendancy were significantly stronger than any other passive. I hope there's some variety in the future, but considering how little changes they added to all the other Ascendancies, I really wonder what took 4 months. Passive skill trees. Maybe this is where they spend all their time. So we have new things for Huntress, new clusters for different game mechanisms, banners, bleeding, thorns, parries, companions, hazards. Maybe this is good. Let's see. I don't like going through these passives without actually looking at the passive tree and how you get to there, what's next to it and things like that. So this is a bit hard to judge. Whoa. Yeah, this doubles the mana cost. Okay, that passive was a bit too strong, but doubles your mana costs seems a bit extreme. But so far what we've seen, all the changes seem extreme or clueless or straight up just random. Nothing else screams anything crazy. Minor changes, percentage changes, nerfing everything, which is kind of fair. Some of these were very strong points. Generally, these passive changes seem a bit meh, but let's see. Again, I don't want to make judgment calls before I get to play the patch. So far, the patch notes have been very disappointing, especially when you had to wait 4 months for this, especially when they didn't actually make these changes during 0.1, and most of these should have been done 0.1, and fuck people's opinions about nerfing mid-patch. That's what alphas is for. Let's keep going. Skill changes. Most of those changes are not specifically mentioned, so we don't even fuck me, man. We don't even get to see the actual changes. It's just too many of them. Fucking go figure it out yourselves. Modern gaming. The mana cost of all attacks, marks, war cries have been reduced. Okay, so nerfs. Okay, Archmage nerf. Good job. It should have been nerfed. Okay, this is good. There was some OP builds with Barry Invocation. They should have fixed it. Blink is now a travel skill. What was it before that? Bone Blast might be better. Cast on minion death now only gains energy when persistent minions are killed. So you just fucking destroyed the previous build I played. So cast on minion death Fire Flower is no longer a build. It doesn't exist. You can't do it. Great. That's definitely how you balance, by just removing things from the game. Maybe they'll add it in the future, but based on how these patch notes are done, my opinion of GGG has dropped significantly. But I am new to PoE, considering some people been playing for 10 years or more. I don't know if this was the correct decision. Why make Raging Spirits minions then if they're not persistent minions? Or am I reading this wrong and this is still gonna work with Raging Spirits? Maybe I jumped the gun a bit, but let's see. So they nerfed Curse, Cold Snap. This is actually interesting. I like this. Cold Snap has bigger radius, maybe actually makes Cold Snapping Frostballs a possible build. I might be thinking about trying something with this. This is the freaking most ridiculous thing about this patch. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating. Whoever thought this is a good idea needs to understand how games are played. If I click on a skill and it takes 1.5 seconds for that skill to activate, I don't want to use that skill. I didn't want to use curses when there was 1 second, and now you're making it 1.5 second delay. Unless there are some crazy good support gems that actually make curses better, this is just straight up anti-fun. No idea why you would do this, other than that some support gems or some other interactions are probably making something crazy. But making things longer, making things uninteractive or take a while to do its effect, that's not how people want to play. People want to have good combat, good snappiness. I click a skill, something happens with minimal delays. Yes, some skills should have cooldowns. Yes, some skills should have delays, but this just doesn't make any sense to me based on what I know so far. So Detonate Dead might be better at endgame. It's also not bad. Good fix, because there were some broken elemental invocation things, so maybe this will fix them. Let's see. So this change here is what was really crazy about playing Fireflower Chronomancer before. The performance you had with Fireball and Raging Spirits and the shards and everything was so bad that they basically had to nerf skills in order for the game performance to increase. Great job. Okay, so Firebolt nerf, huge nerf for Firestorm, but nobody used Firestorm, so I don't know what they're doing. They're nerfing skills into the ground that nobody ever used before. Flame Blast now has 15-second cooldown Flame Blast, which was never used by any build before. I saw maybe one build where they scaled the AoE of Flame Blast and it was actually maybe looked like interesting, but now it does less damage, slightly more radius, and gains a bit more cast speed from quality. So this is just this is just bad. This is just straight up bad. Frost Bomb is a bit better. Frost Wall is now bigger cooldowns. So they fixed all the Herald stuff, hopefully. Wait a second. So they just straight up removed it. So in summary, things that they can't fix, they just remove. Good game design. But this was needed. Grim Feast was broken. Hex Blast is now needs to wait 50% of... I circle back to the Flame Blast 15-second cooldown or Curse delay of 1.5 second. Hex Blast, same concept. You have to wait for the 50% of the duration to expire. This is just anti-fun. Yeah, there should be maybe some trigger conditions if you want to add those, but waiting, this is basically cast on death effect, where somebody dies, you need to wait for the explosion to go away before you can loot your items. It's anti-fun mechanic. Please tell me if you disagree. So if you have multiple travel skills with cooldowns, their cooldowns are now shared. So this is, again, I think it's anti-fun. Yes, okay, I understand the design choice. You want to make everything slower. You want to make sure that the movement skills share cooldowns so that people can't stack multiple movement skills together and then you zoom past everything. But people want that. I think most people want that. Most people don't want to have to fight each pack as a boss and have to dodge roll 60 times to kill a pack. I don't agree with this choice. I kind of see it, but I want more fun mechanics, more crazy shit happening, not slow pace, drag on type of combat that we kind of get sometimes during the campaign. Campaign is not too bad though, but just endgame, this just doesn't work on endgame. You need to redesign the whole endgame gameplay loop. Lightning Orb no longer creates shock ground of targeting ball of lightning projectile. Again, this change was only done due to the performance issues that it creates. If you spam lightning warp on loads of ball of lightnings, you create a lot of shock ground effects that decreases performance significantly. Easy way to fix it is just remove the functionality from the skill. It seems like the game has poor performance because it's designed like that. And the only options they have to fixing those things is just straight up removing it, as we saw a couple of times. So they nerfed Raging Spirits by increasing the duration, but reducing the number of spirits. Also, I don't believe this works with cast on minion death anymore. So I think this just deleted the build from the game. Maybe this is a good one. I don't know. There was a lot of Raging Spirit issues with fire skills and things I mentioned earlier, but I'm not sure if this is gonna fix it. None of these scream anything crazy to me. Changes to a lot of minions. Great job for nerfing Spark. Should have been done earlier. Okay, none of these are too interesting for me. New conditional tag might be interesting for some conditional builds. That's what they want to do. They want to do combo gameplay, but they barely have anything that you can combo with. Things don't combo like they should. Support changes. Let's see. Percentage changes. Percentage changes. Percentage changes, percentage changes, percentage changes, percentage changes, percentage changes, percentage changes, again, percentage changes, percentage changes, percentage changes. You guessed it, more percentage changes. Nerf, distance nerf, change, percentage change, percentage change, percentage change. Oh my god, this is so percentage change, percentage change. This is how you balance a game after 4 months, by just making these small, tiny tweaks. Why couldn't these things been done in the middle of the patch? Then we would have had more data. You could have had way more changes, actual significant changes to gameplay, to skills, to builds, to combinations of things. But nope. I'm not too keen on this. But it makes sense why. No complaints here. It just breaks my build even further, where the build is actually doesn't exist anymore. So if you've seen some of my previous build videos, they don't work no more. What the fuck does this mean? What are the values? Can you not give us the value? I was actually using Unbreakable. It was a nice gem. So these are all the support changes. So nothing too major. We didn't have a lot of support gems, so I kind of understand why this is so limited. But I fundamentally disagree with making percentage changes that take 4 months. This should have been done during the patch, not after, not between major patch releases like this. What I expect from major patch releases is major changes to skills, how they work, and I don't see none of that. So yeah, quite disappointing. Unique item changes. Against the darkness, now medium radius, so it's worse. Nerf. I did feel like the gem was a bit strong, and I was planning to use it in 0.2 as well. The 1% mana and 1% life is very nice if you find a good location for this gem. Astramentis is nerfed, still seems strong for stat stacking. The top range of the value does not change, so that doesn't affect the top end of this item. Just average item will be worse. Did they make enough changes to fix the attribute stacking for the classes and ascendancies otherwise, and this is just a minor tweak? I don't know, we'll see. One of my favorite items from the previous patch now has 10% damage bypass. Absolutely butchered. Don't know if this is a good item anymore. Doesn't look like it. Maybe for Lich, the 10% damage bypass plus 10% damage bypass, that's 20% damage bypass. I understand why they had to nerf this, because this was way too high for Lich, because you would have like almost 40-45% damage reduction essentially, because it bypasses your shield, goes to life, you don't take life. Essentially 40% damage reduction with a corrupted Aziri's Disdain. So I understand this was needed, but this seems over the top. Straight up nerfed both sides of this item. Acquire of the Storm Amulet triggers Lightning Bolt, previously Greater Lightning Bolt. So they're just going back and forth on this. I don't know what they're doing this. Flip-flopping, changed rarity. None, again, values just changed. Dream Fragments are less great. 20% it was a bit extreme, especially with Ingenuity. But if they've nerfed Ingenuity and Dream Fragment, the mana you gain is significantly less. Everlasting Gaze got nerfed as well for 4-6% instead of 20-30. 40-60 instead of 50, and wow, straight up destroyed 4-6% from 20-30%. Is this even usable anymore? Maybe with some builds. I want to test this in game, but considering how good Everlasting Gaze was before, it's a shadow of its former glory. Oh, my Fireflower Amulet grants 10-15 rarity. This is the only thing they changed, the freaking rarity. Wow. Silly changes. Yeah, people were complaining about the rarity of items, but for Fireflower, you never actually even had this rarity stat, because this rarity stat was passed on to your minions through Necromantic Talisman. So what does this do? in reality? I don't know. Ghostwrite unique body armor now provides 25% maximum life converted to energy. So 50% reduction. Ghostwrite was really good chest. I was using it most of the game, most of 0.1. 50% is a huge nerf. I'm not sure if that's enough, if that's needed. There was way more powerful things in the game than this, and this is a straight up 50% nerf. Hand of Wisdom. Oh yeah, this is one of the issues of the previous patch. Attack per 20 intelligence, previously per 10 intelligence. So 50% nerf. Okay. One attack speed per previously 3% per 25. So also huge. 21 to 20. Yeah, okay, that's big. Also just slightly over 50% nerf, or maybe around 50% nerf. This was needed because everybody was using this item, so good job. Ingenuity no longer has increased bonuses. Okay, instead of has 20-30 from left, 20-30 from right. Okay, this item, yeah, this is Ingenuity was too good. Straight up way too good. And they nerfed it, and it made it more interesting actually. I like this a lot. So the unique shield that gave you effect of a soul core got absolutely destroyed. But it now gives you everlasting sacrifice. No idea what that is. But this seems to be really trying to kill magic rarity. Melting Maelstrom, no longer recover all mana when used. Well, that makes sense. Whose big brain was it to create an item that just restores all your mana with minimal side effects? As much as I like this item, I think this was necessary for the improvement of the game long term. More Invictus now generates 3 random modifiers from 2. That's a buff, right? And no longer roll. So you can't get rarity anymore. Maximum life, mana, attributes. So this is just a hardcore obliteration of this item, of poor Warrior Invictus unique body armor. They just absolutely destroyed it. Unless, wait, then maybe I'm jumping the gun, because now you can get 3 random modifiers. They removed all the good ones. So all of these are the good ones. So this is good. Global defenses. Elemental resistance got nerfed. 7 random socketed. Okay, this is, I want to see what this is. This is it. What do we have here? What did they add? Once we know, then we can tell, but this sounds like they just killed the item. It was really good. I had multiple versions of it, and I really like this item, but it kind of eliminated choices for your body armor, as this was pretty much the best one, or Ghostwrite, which they also nerfed. So now maybe we will have more choices for things. I don't know. I don't think so. But we have 100 new items, so potentially. And so they just killed the spirit shield. Okay, so this is good. This item was like the best leveling stuff in the game. You just yeah, it was a bit too strong for a unique what it did. Even endgame you could use this. This makes sense to me. Okay, so they halved Temporalis. Okay, I'll take that. Still, I like items like Temporalis. As much as it is broken and breaks the game, that's what you want. You want fun. This is a fun item. It should be broken. It should be very hard to get. That's how it should be, in my opinion. So they made changes to Ventor's Gamble unique. So they reduced the rarity because they went crazy on all the rarity items, nerfing them. And this is it for all of the unique item changes. Not enough, nowhere near enough. So many uniques were absolute garbage. They're still absolute garbage, unusable. They added 100 new ones. Let's say that some of them, like 10-20%, will be good. Not enough variety, not enough choices. There is usually a clear, significantly better item for every single slot. For gloves, chest, boots, etc. You should have choices. There should be multiple things that are competing for a slot, and it should not be so easy as just get this chest and put it on, and that's all you need to think about that slot. But let's see, maybe the 100 items will change that. So what about the item changes? So now Jeweler's Orb actually give you 5 support gem. Yeah, okay, it's good. Great change. Oh my god, this is it, guys. This is the biggest change. This item went from being worth multiple divines to being absolutely fucking useless. Nobody's gonna use this. I don't know if this is the right way to do this, but it is what it is, guys. So straight up nerfed across the board. Nerf for mana, nerf for mana, nerf for mana, nerf for mana. I see the theme. Right, so from all these item changes, they just nerfed everything and buffed almost nothing and fixed a few things. Okay, well, how about monster changes? Life of trial reduced, so maybe getting your ascendancy is a bit easier. Pinnacle bosses are half maximum life as before. That's good. So they made everything easier. So they nerfed everything to the ground, but made everything a little bit easier. So does that mean it's gonna get balanced and feel okay, or is it still gonna be too fast compared to what they want the gameplay to be? I think it's still gonna be too fast. Okay, so they made a lot of changes to monsters. Let's play and find out. I don't want to make judgment call on these without actually trying it, but increasing damage, reducing health seems to lower the difficulty, or maybe even increase the difficulty and the punishment. I don't know. I need to see this in practice. Quest changes, I don't care. User interface changes. Let's see if there's anything here worth mentioning. Ritual rewards now pause the game. Okay, that's good. I support this. Actually, I think died a few times when I was trying to open the ritual and a random mob came up from somewhere that I couldn't see because the screen was blocked by the menu. Changes are now highlighted more obviously. Okay, I like this too. Monster life bars. Yeah, this is also good. UI co-op. Who the fuck plays this co-op when the game doesn't even run on a single player without any performance issues? It's just really poorly optimized. So if you have 2 or 3 characters, and I don't think it's playable. Nothing here screams crazy to me. Microtransaction changes, I don't freaking care. Good job. Bug fixes. There's a lot of bug fixes, as you can see. Holy schmoly, there's a lot of bug fixes. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but there were a lot of bugs. I hope they fixed most of it. Let's see what new bugs we find. This is a cat and mouse game with bugs, so I'm really just hoping for the most bugs reduced, least added, that type of thing. And we're almost at the end of the patch notes. So they just changed how overcharge works. Okay, ingenuity. Okay, 30-50, 30-50. Oh, and then they nerfed it 20-30 even more. Okay, so they double nerfed ingenuity twice, because once they nerfed it, released the patch notes, it wasn't enough, so they nerfed it again. Because yeah, going from 40-80% to 30-50, 30-50 is actually a buff, because 250s is 100, so that's more than 80. So how did this happen as a nerf is beyond me. Somebody really wanted to keep ingenuity as good or better. I think that's good. Tell me in the comments if this is good. I'm not sure. Seems good. So they went back on their Hex Blast nerf. Okay, fair enough. So now to summarize my opinion and thoughts, quite disappointed. We've been waiting 4 months for this, and some of these changes are really not significant enough. We've received mostly nerfs, minimal buffs, and this applies to both items, skills, supports, crafting. Yes, we have some new additional things, but it's been mostly nerfs and essentially nerfing everything to the ground. I don't believe that's how you balance games into one direction. It does not make sense to me. There were a lot of questionable changes, and there was a lot of anti-fun decisions, and I do not understand those decisions. The worst part was that many builds got absolutely deleted from the game. So they didn't get nerfed, but they got deleted, as in they no longer exist because you cannot do those combos anymore. That is not how you fix games, by just simply deleting builds from the game. So I'm extremely unhappy about that. I've also have many questions about where are all the Ascendancy changes that are needed. Some Ascendancies were severely underperforming compared to others. Others were actually overpowered and overtuned. They got nerfed, which is fair, but simply just not enough Ascendancy changes. And finally, with all the many percentage changes and tweaks, most of these should have been done during 0.10. I have no idea why it takes so long to make 5-10% tweaks to items, skills, and support gems and things like that. So yeah, I'm quite a negative Nancy about this patch. Please let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, and what your thoughts are about this. Am I the only one who was really excited for this patch, and now I'm actually more excited for Lost Epoch? I don't know. Please let me know in the comments. But yeah, I hope you like this. Please let me know how I can improve, and like, subscribe, help me out, and peace. See you in the next one.